So a number of people have been leaving lots of comments on my videos talking about how, yes, Joel, it's great that The Voice was defeated on a national level, but the states are already passing legislation for a voice, for a treaty. They're allocating finances to these processes. So it's really very much a hollow win. And I completely reject the sentiment, but I understand where you're coming from. I think people, they risk not taking the win when it's happened. I mean, take the win, guys. You know, like if there's one thing that happened on the weekend, it was proof that you can beat the corporations. You can beat the establishment in Canberra. You can beat whatever they throw at you. But the idea that we shouldn't take the win, I have a visceral reaction to that. Now, the claim, they're already passing the treaties on a state level. They're already passing the voice proposal on a state level. What's the next fight, Joel? How do we beat that? Well, if you want to know about that, South Australia already has a voice. They passed it in the dead of night a few months ago. And for those that have been following my content really closely, I interviewed One Nation member of South Australia of the Upper House, Sarah Game, the lovely Sarah Game, and we talked about this. And she's already submitted a bill to actually repeal the legislation. And she's certainly someone you should follow to see what the fight back looks like on a state level. But in other states, I mean, the idea that just because the federal voice was defeated, oh, don't worry, we've got no power over the states are passing treaties, the states are passing their own voices. Guys, where is your power? Where is your self-confidence after the weekend? I can already sense that the establishment is trying to water down the win that you guys got on the weekend. Reject these sentiments. Remember the people power that we saw in WA. They didn't even have a vote on the legislation that happened over there for the people. They didn't even have a referendum. Their own parliament passed legislation and the people rose up in town hall meetings, and the pushback was so big and so embarrassing for the Labor Party that they ran off with their tail between their legs, and they had to make overtures. They had to remove the legislation. They had to say, we're sorry publicly. They have them on the back foot. So these sentiments that the win on the weekend should be, it's a hollow victory because the states are already, passing this or that. I've got to admit, guys, if there's one thing I noticed on the weekend, the amount of comments about the election being rigged or the referendum being rigged, they were quite scarce. And I think the reason why that is because a lot of that comes from infiltrators, from lefties, from people that pretend to be in the freedom movement. But on the weekend, we could see that your vote still counts in this country. And that means it still counts on a federal level, on a state level, on a local level. And that means we can still take this country back. Be under no illusions. We've still got a lot of work to do. But the pushback on a state level, on the Aboriginal aspect, on what they call in New Zealand as co-governance, it looks like pushing back on state legislation, getting behind members of parliament, like in South Australia, they've got the voice proposal there. People like Sarah Game, she's put legislation forward to repeal the legislation. So I guess this is an appeal to you guys. Come into your own power. As much as possible, I will let you know how best to fight in your respective states, but please reject this notion that the left and the establishment are already pushing, which is that the weekend's victory for the no side was hollow. It was embarrassing for Albanese. It was embarrassing for the left, and it was embarrassing for the corporate Aboriginal industry, because for this whole referendum, all that's happened is it's completely exposed this billions of dollars that is misused and yields no results for them. In fact, the Black sovereignty movement ended up opposing the voice, which tells you that there is an establishment and a Aboriginal royalty that was pushing the voice. So come into your own power, guys. Just as we saw in WA with the Aboriginal heritage laws there, they were reversed. They were pushed back on because of people power. There wasn't even a referendum there. We've just had, like, only in 12 out of like 50 referendums in Australia have we seen a situation where all the states rejected the proposal that was put up, and a majority of Australians also rejected the proposal that was put up. We've just had that on the weekend. Don't let them rob you of that, because ultimately they want to demoralize you, because their next attack is the misinformation bill, is the state treaties, the Makarrata process as well. And on top of that, a state voice. We can beat all of those things. We can also have financial freedom as well from the government and from the big banks that were pushing this voice. Just do me one favor, and this isn't for my own self-gain. Whoever you are listening to in the alternative media, whoever you are listening to, like these great freedom senators that fought against the voice, subscribe to their emails, subscribe to the Turning Point emails, but do what you can, because we need to bunker down right now, because the misinformation bill that's coming up, it is Albo's revenge. It is the establishment's revenge, because the next time they put a proposal up and the people, democracy doesn't go the right way, what they're going to end up doing is basically censoring the side that's not with the establishment. So what we need to do is to get more active. It's to remember, like a litmus test, who were the ones that gave me reliable information during this time? Who are the politicians that were of conviction, not convenience, and didn't join the no vote later? They opposed it from the start. Subscribe to those people. We need to start giving 1% of our time every year to this, because the establishment have people working full-time on this. Now, I work at your disposal. I work full-time for you guys, and I thank everyone that's donated to me for the last 3 years. I'm here to provide you solutions. So in every state, there is a way to push back on this. If you're listening now, all 300 of you concurrently, please give this a share. Please get it out there. Remember that this win on the weekend was yours. It was our Brexit moment. It was our, it makes me hungry when I say that, but it makes me laugh. Like, there will always be a laugh that comes on my face when I think about what happened on the weekend, because it was so predictable what had happened. Now, I want you guys to keep your heads up high. We can beat the stuff happening on a state level, just like WA did, just like we did in the referendum vote. God bless you all. Remember to give this a share, and don't let the establishment push you while you're down, because they have just copped the massive loss. Now is the time to push hard. I'll see you guys later.